Tungasugit, welcome. My name is U Kirsted. I'm the daughter of Simeoni and Patsao Akpik of Kimmirut. Tako angin lukaka Simeoni Akpik amalu Patsao Akpik Kimmirut miutaza. Tungasugit. Tamani pugu Ottawa, Ontario ming. Sana niyo sa yunga khisining tako ninga hungasam miutausu angutisiuti. Upaluni, we're going to be making sealskin bow ties for the men, or you can also make them a beret for the ladies. Takwalo asingin sana niyo sa javut. Hisi suli pirok siangwan. Kano sana yaw su mangata ilin nertugut. At jigit-jangin miya una ko at meron niyo sa jabutabunga. So we'll also be making the sealskin flowers. These can be a pin or for your hair as well, for hair tie. And we're just going to show you how to make the patterns. And this pattern will be different. We'll put in the leaves for this sealskin flower, and we can either make them a keychain or for the hair again, or the pin. We're going to start with the bow. So here's a finished bow. And here are some paper patterns. There are different sizes, different shapes. Ajiging ituti tako ututi paipani ang inagsakchuk. Ajiging itangilo. Taka utuk simayo. This is already cut out. Tunone nalunay kute na kumirso na mangaki. There's some dots for where you'll be sewing. That is helpful. And then we have to decide for the middle part. Tana niruara hang nang mijavut khitit changa. Tamanga merson nang mijavut. Una bijari niusa simayo. This is almost finished. We just need to sew for the creases are these dots. We'll pinch those. And then fold this over. You could go with the same color. So don't ever throw away your scraps. You could use the scraps for anything. I think I will go with the same color. You will need to have a Glover needle, a thimble, and I use an old glove to help tighten the seams. So this is what I have. And some sino. There's different color sino. I think I'll use the yellow. Nice popping color. You can use a red color or a black color if you wanted to blend it. When you cut your sino, it peels into smaller sizes. Onion. It has a really sharp edge, and that's a Glover needle. You need really sharp needle for the seal to pierce through the sealskin. An onion. Ipito. You have to be careful, it's very sharp. And you need to be sure when you're putting it through your sealskin. We're going to tie a knot using the needle. Fold it. You're going to fold over the thread over the needle, so there's a little lip. See the little lip? That's what you're folding over. Now you could hold the needle with the thread, and then you're going to twist it. You're twisting just the needle and holding on to the thread about 6 or 7 times, and then you pull the needle through that twist and you get a nice little knot at the end. When you thread it, you want a bit of room so it doesn't unthread when you're using the needle and thread. So I'm trying to create this effect here. You see the pinch on each side. There's a nice little pinch on each side. You flip that little flap, you sew through from this side of the skin, and you come up through the fur, and that's how it will stay there. And then you want to tie it, you're just going to make a loop and then put your needle through that loop and hold the loop, and you're going to push the knot to where the skin is. You're going to do that a few times. So there's the loop, then you put your needle through the hole, the loop, and you create your knot, but you want to manipulate the knot to be able to go all the way down to where the sealskin is, and then you just make sure and hold it down and pull your thread through so that the knot is way down where you want it to be. Do that a few times. Okay. See, I'm using my fingers to manipulate the knot to make sure it goes all the way down to where the skin is. You don't want to make a knot up here. You don't want to make a knot here. You want to make sure the knot goes closer to the sealskin. And to do that, you twist make a loop, put the needle through, and now there's the knot, right? You could just move your fingers to make sure the knot goes all the way down. And then when it's down there, you want to hold it and then just get tighten your thread after. There's different sizes of ulu. This one's for sewing. You can use it to cut your thread or your sealskin pattern. Ajiging itu ti ului tan ulok ala gape mirso tunon atok tau gazutto utu tinulo amalo kilo artigia harbi. Okay, so we're going to do that on the other side. So this is what it looks like right now. But when you marry it all, it should look like that. Okay, fold the thread over the needle. I'm holding the needle with the thread, and I'm just going to twist the needle around about 6 or 7 times. You could go 8 or 9, and then you just pull the needle through the knot and create a knot. So we're just pinching this way, okay? Went through that way, then I'm going to go over here, and now it's going to come on the other side. So now there's this line. You want to do the same line on the other side. Okay, simple. And then you take this flap. You see those dots? You go through it this way first. It's going to flip over like that. But don't tighten it yet, because you want to go through the fur at the top. Right through. This time it went through the fur. It's on the other side. And that's when you tighten. Hide your seams, other seams. Do you want to finish it by going through this way again? So now it looks like that. Okay, and you want to tie a knot, make that loop, and put your needle through. And you hold it with your fingers to make sure it goes all the way down to where the sealskin is. Loop, put the needle through, manipulate it so it goes all the way down. Do that maybe four times. There's the pinch there. Then we're going to sew this. The fur is going down on the bow this way, and you want this one to go the other way, okay? The opposite way. We're going to just cut this to size. That's what it will look like. There's There's a bit of excess there, so we're going to just cut that. Alright, we didn't cut much off. Don't forget, you're going to go the opposite way of the fur. The fur is going this way. You want the middle part to go the other way. We're just going to sew the two ends together. It's just going over. They don't have to be perfect. It's just to keep this together, right? When it marries together, you see the crease there. And then when you finish this part, you want to just make sure that it stays, that the seams stay back here. You're just going to tack it on after you've finished sewing this piece together. We just line it up. We just line it up with the seams here, because what could happen is it could move around and the seams might show up in the front. You don't want that to happen. You're just going to tack it down. We're just going to tack it where in the same area as the seams here. Alright. We're going to tie a knot. You make a loop. Put the needle through. You widen the circle to make sure it's close to the sealskin. Then you hold it down and just pull it through. Do that a few times. You just make sure the knot is bigger so it's harder for the thread to go right through. Here's the knot. There's your bow tie.
Start again.
So you could incorporate a clip for your bow tie, or, and this is no sew, just knots. This is elastic. You just kind of measure your neck, make it a little longer. You hoop it through. You make a loop. You make a loop and you tie, okay? But you leave the loop open and you do the same on each side. Okay, so now you take the end of this loop, put it through that hoop, and you do the same with the other side. You take, and now you can adjust it when you tighten it. Just by using those strings, you can tighten it around, and there you have your tie, your sealskin bow tie.